I didn't really sort of come up with the idea for this movie as much as let it sort of simmer, because all of these science fiction and fantasy and, you know, bad B movies, all this stuff was in my head for years. And so it was sort of simmering. So the real question is, at what point did I sort of lift the lid on the stew pot and see what was in there? And the answer is, it was one night I was at the Pat of Guys. I was having a hard time sleeping. And for fans of the film, they probably won't believe this, but it's true. The first thing that came to me for the movie was the line, "Thrill me." I couldn't sleep, and I thought, a guy, he's two-fisted, he's tough, I don't know what he does, but he's sad, he's melancholy. I said, that'd be great. Let's have a scene with a nightmare, and he's awakened by the phone, and he grabs the phone, he snatches it up, and he says, "Thrill me." I said, okay, who is he? This is the middle of the night. This is my process at that time. Okay, who is he? Well, I thought, well, maybe he's a cop, because he's from the Raymond Chandler mode, and sort of the two-fisted, cigarette-smoking, hard-drinking guy. Okay, so he's a cop. So then I had to figure out why he's being called, and, you know, clearly some kind of crime must have occurred. At that time, I was making a short film that was sort of going to be my entree, my director's showreel. And I had conceived these characters, these college kids, one of whom is sort of our hero nerd, and then there's his sidekick. And it was a science fiction piece. It was actually a time travel movie, a little short film. I ended up actually making 5 minutes of it. But I had these two characters, and one of them was this sort of heartbroken college freshman who had a crush on this girl. And I said, okay, well, why don't I just take these two guys who became Chris and JC in Creeps and just put them into the movie. So whatever they did resulted in the cop being called. So now the story's sort of coming together. I have three characters. I have the cop, the detective, I have the nerd, I have the sidekick. And so we got to have a pretty girl. So the Cynthia character came into being. And then it was a matter, back to my stew analogy, of just taking all of the stuff that was in my head from movies that I'd loved as a kid to put into the stew. So I thought, okay, zombies. Can't beat zombies. So I knew eventually there would be some shambling dead people. And I thought, space aliens always works. Got to have some space aliens. So let's get some more pretty girls, have them take their clothes off. So it was that kind of like taking all of the B-movie crap and just throwing it all into the blender and hitting the puree button. And I wrote it in about 2 weeks, actually.
What is this, a homicide or a bad B movie?